Good morning. What's up, babies? Hey, so I was just thinking about, okay, again, I gotta tell you, you gotta watch out with that whole spiritual stuff with like TV, because you don't know what you're gonna be calling in. But definitely again, so plant medicine, plant medicine, plant medicine, plant medicine. Um, uh, so be very mindful as far as corporate, because I was just looking into that and I was like, oh my gosh, maybe that's what it was, because I was getting so beat up, right? It was corporate, it was money or whatever. And then I was forced to Sedona, Arizona, and I was forced there. And then I was being broke down psychically, energetically, and all these other things, trying to be altered this way, altered this way. And then I'm like, well, I don't understand what that would be for. Like I just don't really honestly get it. I was like, I never really posted too many things. I do know that when I got sent out to Arizona, they did say like how much work it would be in order to cover up, I guess, my tracks or something. And they said not too much. Well, it's because I wasn't on social media much. I wasn't on these things. Um, so I think as far as the people constantly observing my consciousness or anything. But anyways, so I think it has to do something with corporate. That's the reasons why they were so allowed to break my energy body, and that was the reasons why they were allowed to attack the love that I have for the people and the love that I have for Black people. Which was kind of ironic, is because like, and even I was like justifying it. I was like, whoa, what are you talking? I was like, it was because of my beautiful Black brothers and sisters, the reasons why I knew about telerizations. I was like, it was because of my beautiful Black brothers and sisters that taught me to speak up for the person that's being harmed by somebody else or being psychically controlled. It was my Black brothers and sisters that helped me with this. Why are you trying to turn me against Black people? And it's like a corporate, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, wait, so are they trying to adjust, because they kept on doing white, 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 white? And I'm like, stop with that. I'm part Native American. Like, wait, what kind of white, right? So is it like the white power to the people? Because I haven't really got to see too much white power to the people, but I believe it to be existed, right? Like I believe it to exist. I'm just so used to the power of the people, just kind of uniting underneath that of Black brothers and sisters, Indian brothers and sisters, Latinos, just different forms, right? So I never really seen too many people that were like power to the people and they were like white. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? Even the whole Black thing too. But for me, it was obviously the freedom and the powerization of being able to govern your own people versus being controlled psychically, energetically by another form of group of people. And so I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is horrible. But I think one of the people, they tell it to my mind, and they were like, well, we're trying to put a good image on white. So obviously, objectively, I'm like, so I go back into my center, because this is what you do as a man of God, or a woman of God, or you're like, let me see where your conscience is at and your viewpoint. What are you trying to establish? Um, and it was like, well, we're trying to take away the negative connotation towards white, or white power. And I was like, okay, I'll jump on board. Like, you got my attention. You have my attention. So is this a trick? I gotta remember I'm being psychically controlled and manipulated in this town. So should I trust? Should I not trust? So I'm like, but I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna, and not judge. I'm gonna sit there and be like, okay, well, let me really see what you're trying to tell me. And it was like, okay, well, you're trying to take the negativity away, so almost the alchemy away from the negative racist connotation towards that of white. Okay, I'm down. Like, I'm liking it. All right, so what is the plan? What are you doing with it? No response. Well, if you're trying to make white, like, shouldn't you give more of an explanation? Like, so I was like kind of twisted, right? And I'm being psychically held this way. I can't look at Black, I can't look at African, I can't look at dark skinned pornography. And I'm like, so I'm trying to think of this, trying to make white look good. And I'm like, okay, well, and then I can't look at my Latinos. Well, you're not letting me look at my beautiful Black brothers and sisters, my beautiful. I'm not looking at my beautiful Black brothers, African brothers. And I was like, that's fine. I'll just go. I'll look at some Latinos. I'm cool with it. And it's like, I can't look at that no either. And I'm like, well, I'm not understanding. I'm like, okay, so maybe I'm just going. I'm going a little bit too far with it. Like, I'll just leave it alone. And I'm like, I don't understand why this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this, because I was under a false pretense because they got into my mind making me believe that I was falling in love with somebody. And I was like, I know it's not true. But whatever, we're going to go with that. This white power thing is not looking good. Um, I was like, because I know I'm not falling in love. Like, if you're teaching me tellerizations or the arts of the subconscious and I've already been kind of taught these things, but you're doing it to manipulate me more so than guide me. Um, so I'm still I'm trying to understand it, and I'm still trying to be peace and love, truly. Um, and I didn't get it, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm like, I'm done with this. You want to know what I want? I want my black king. I want my black king, baby. And I wait, because I'm so used to them holding my consciousness. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to get in trouble. Um, and I'm like, this is a lot. Um, because then I was thinking to myself, I was like, maybe everyone kind of had a point. Maybe I did love black too much. Maybe I loved African too much. Maybe I loved the power and the freedom and the liberation to free you from that of metaphysical arts and psychic ability that is trying to control that of the people. So I'm pulling it away from a color and putting it towards the power of the people. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I just put too much emphasis on a color. And I was like, well, power of the people. And I'm like, well, this is where I'm probably going to go with this. Um, so so why am I still having these problems? I'm sorry about like my delays. I'm so used to the consciousness. It's almost rewired me to be blocked a little bit for the metaphysical ones that are, I don't know, protecting the ones that justify the tellerizations and the abuse of metaphysical arts and CBT, clinical thought behavior, and by that of the remote viewing and programming that of a person. Power of the people. So I was trying to understand, and I'm like, well, I don't get it. I was like, I date any color of a person. I don't got no problem coloring. I don't have no problem with race. But now I'm kind of got this Hollywood project this, project that. These are divine projectors. We are allowed to design American citizens. Well, I'm like, unless it's power to the people and freedom and liberation and getting them into their power, you're useless to me. Um, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, because I was having such a hard time as far as being forced to a town. And I'm thinking, I'm like, this has got to be somewhat of corporate. This has got to be money because I advertise, right? So I'm a living advertisement. Um, but I was never gonna advertise really honestly for Latino, for black, for you know what I'm saying. It's true like like the black culture. I'm like, hey, look, baby, this is what I got. You know what I'm saying. My Latino culture, I'm like, this is what I got. You know what I'm saying. My Italiano culture, this is what I got, Papa. You know what I'm saying. Like I advertise more like my walk of my reality, and the actual true forms of who I am as a person instead of what these other ones were trying to project and control to be able to be like, well, we're gonna force them to do this, and it got kind of spiffy. It got nasty. Um, and so I'm like, well, okay, no matter what, power of the people, I'm still for the power of the people. And then they're like, oh no, if there's no evil, then there would be no need for good. And they're really trying to do this projecting and all this. I tell a kid, I'm like, okay, angel, love, like angel. I'm not an angel. I did not know that you were raised in order to sit there and abuse the American people. I do apologize. I apologize right now. Like, I apologize. I did not. I'm looking at you as a young innocent, but because you use collective magic and collective conscious and that of plant medicine, you're thinking it's okay that you could just abuse whatever you want to abuse. And I don't think that's right. Like, but you're okay with being able to in this group, this group, this group. But when it comes to me, it's no, we're capturing you. So the corporate America thing really kind of got me all messed up. And I'm like, well, I'm still not, I'm still just, I'm still 100% part of the people of liberation and love for that of a greater form of a nation of people and a worldly world. Um, but when it came down to it, I'm like, so is that what allowed other consciousnesses that were protecting me from the harm? Is that when corporate America got into it, where they would be able to market? Because I know that they were talking about like my Instagram, and they were like, "Oh, we could do a whole big suit thing with this, or a whole thing like a shoot, and do all these other things." You have to understand, I was 190 pounds, like a model. But I'm like, I don't care what you guys are talking about. I'm here in a spiritual town where I'm gonna learn psychic ability and this taking photos and all these other things, that's not my concern. My concern is actually me coming into my power. Well, everyone's like, why isn't he listening? What's wrong with him? Why is he broken? Why can't we get in his forehead? Well, because I never praise whatever you guys do. That's the reasons why. I was for humanity. It wasn't until after being enslaved by you guys for God almighty, so many years for you to collectively get me to the point where I'm not gonna drive, so I'll be psychically held there. And it was like this big orchestrated thing. And it's like, this was all corporate? But they're like, it's government, it's government. And that's the reasons why I say, I'm like, the government actually, I believe, actually helps the people. But these other collectives, the corporate, they're willing to break a lot of things to hurt you. And that's the reasons why my heart was so broke, is because I've had many forms of collectives actually help me. Because, you know, my Latino community really knew that I was for Latinos. My Indian community really knew I was for Indians. My Black community really knew I was for Black people. And it really hurt me because I'm like, everyone just gave up on me because I get so twisted in my own head because I'm like, who's in my head now? Who just popped into me? Who's doing this? Who's trying? Well, Steven, why are you talking that? Well, why is it that you could remote view and do all this, but you have no problem get me out to the club and then what, make love to one of your people? I'm the depowered American citizen. What gives you the right that you get my goodies? Oh no, but you need to be with a powerful person. Are you helping me get into my power? Are you helping me get in my plant medicine and be a greater good for myself, which means for the world? Just listen to us. Well, that's not sounding too good either. I love you.